Hello, how are we doing this afternoon? Good. Are you guys ready for an afternoon full of 24-hour startup Agtech pitches? Because I know I am. We have been behind the scenes right next door in Exhibit Mall for the last 24 hours. These teams have been working so hard, and we are sure to bring you guys a really entertaining afternoon, and we are so excited to begin. But first and foremost, I want to recognize that we are on Treaty 4 land, and we're so excited to have this day also be on the National Indigenous Peoples Day. We have so much diversity in our participants this time. It's absolutely amazing, as well as Indigenous representation. So we're really doing our part to sort of move the dial forward for more inclusive tech. So without further ado, we're going to kick off 24-hour startup Agtech right here at Canada's Farm Show. But before I do, you guys have the butts in the seats, which means you guys are actually eligible to win a tailgate Traeger. So my friends in the back from Connexus Credit Union and Cultivator are going to wave. You go back to them, get a ballot, and you could win a $1,000 prize just for coming and being a part of this. So without further ado, let's get started. You might be wondering, what the heck is a 24-hour startup? Who are these people that are sitting in the first few rows? What have they been doing? So at 4 p.m. yesterday, these folks, majority, were strangers. They came together. They had completely different backgrounds. They came from all across Saskatchewan as far as Larange. Who is from Larange here? There we go. So they have come from all over. They have all different backgrounds. They are in egg business. They are in tech. They are in marketing, design. So they come together and they work for just under 24 hours to create a minimum viable product. And they come up here and they pitch for 3 minutes, better them than me. I am not the one to do that. So we are so excited. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recap of what's been happening in the last 24 hours. So we have had 47 participants from, like I said, all across Saskatchewan. This is the most participants we've ever had in 24-hour startups. So let's give an applause for that. So we love the diversity that we are seeing. We have people with PhDs. We have people with master's degrees. We have people that are just newly out of grad school, just starting university. So when I say this is a diverse group, I mean exactly that. We've estimated that we've consumed over 300 cups of coffee. Like I said, some of these people actually worked through the night. So we said 10 o'clock, our doors shut. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So they went, they coded through the night. They worked on their pitches through the night. We have 814 man hours. So these folks here, these 47 folks, put in all these hours to come be on this main stage. So we started with 16 ideas. These people and these participants had brought their ideas that they've been thinking about in the back of their head, and they brought them to the 24-hour startup team formation. We went through them. They got to pick which team they want to be on, and we ended with 6 teams who you're going to see on this main stage. We have 15 mentors and mavens, so we have ag and tech and marketing experts that took time out of their day to come help us. They sat down one-on-one with these teams. They pitch scrubbed them. So they are so prepared to be here, even though you would never believe it's just been 24 hours ago that they started this idea. And then we also have 36 mentor one-to-ones, so they got that one-on-one time with each of their mentors to make sure that they are ready to go. So with that, we are so excited to have Mayor Masters to bring greetings on behalf of City of Regina. She's been a resident of Regina for more than 20 years, and she's such a great proponent of tech, both for our city's sustainability and economy, and she also has a very rich ag background. So without further ado, let's call up Mayor Masters.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this. I was very impressed with 814 man hours. For any of you who would like to approach me later, maybe the City of Regina is looking for you to come see us. On behalf of my council colleagues in the City of Regina, cannot tell you how thrilled we are you're here for this Agtech startup. We are in Treaty 4 territory. We gather here today, the original lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. So yesterday, 47 people come together. 24 hours later, you're here to pitch an idea. No decaf, no sleep, no fear. You're going to come up here and pitch. And if every day is a new start kind of thing, then I'm really comfortable saying that the future of ag is in this room right now. And as a center of agribusiness excellence, Regina's, again, thrilled to host you. I cannot tell you, as participants, how impressed I am with your ability to come and ideate and throw ideas out and have people critique you and say, well, that's not going to work. And you just keep going. 24 hours later, you're prepared to come up here and be judged. We're all kind of judged at some point in time. But thank you so much for being here. Thanks for whatever's about to happen. All the best of luck with your pitches to the organizers, to Cultivator, to Connexus, and to the Canada's Farm Show. Thanks for putting this together. This is pretty incredible. And whatever happens today, we hope to see you back here next year. Take care.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mayor Masters. Next, I'm going to call on my good friend, Todd Andres. He is the Regional Vice President of Ag for Connexus Credit Union, and he's been such a great connector for us with both 24-hour startup Agtech and our Agtech Accelerator to really help us produce or connect directly to our producers. So without further ado, I'll bring Todd up.
Thanks, Bree. I get to follow Mayor Masters, who did not have her speech in hand, so thanks, Bree, for not letting me go first. I learned Mayor Masters is a Connexus alum, so that's awesome. Todd Andres, RVP of Ag for Connexus Credit Union. Great honor to be here today, bringing the greetings for this event. For years, Connexus has been proud to support the farming community by working with producers and providing financial solutions focused on growing the industry that is so important to Saskatchewan, Canada, and beyond. Saskatchewan's known for its innovation. Just look around this show and the innovation and companies who have been founded in our province that have enhanced the industry and now compete on a global scale. These innovations started from an idea and a dream and are built from a necessity in the industry. I'm always amazed at the tenacity of people in the ag industry, and Canada's Farm Show highlights those people and their successes. This is why Connexus is so excited to be part of the 24-hour Agtech startup to inspire the next wave of Agtech innovators. We want to recognize the supporters of Agtech and innovation, such as the Cultivator, who continue to support startups and grow the ecosystem. Hats off to the participants of the 24-hour startup Agtech. I think that bringing an idea to a minimal viable product in a matter of months is ambitious, and you guys just did it in 24 hours. We also want to recognize the Cultivator for bringing this to life, and we can't forget about the support of the industry professionals who act as mentors and judges for this event. And they're able to bring valuable insights to all the participants. Lastly, anyone can play a part in boosting the Agtech industry and the ecosystem by supporting local entrepreneurs and founders. We encourage you to get involved to understand what's being built, how you can support them, and how you may act as a mentor in some capacity for them. Thanks for being here today. These teams worked extremely hard over the last 24 hours, and please welcome them to the big stage. I know they're about to bring forward some impressive ideas. Congrats, everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Todd and Mayor Masters. So we wouldn't be able to do this without our partners, and first and foremost, I really have to thank the crew at Canada's Farm Show. Both Shirley and Jen have been such a great help, so we have partnered to bring 24-hour startup Agtech for 2 more years to Canada's Farm Show, so I think this is just the beginning. We've had a virtual version as well, so they've been absolutely great to work with, and they really are trying to bring the next wave of innovation to this show, so we are very proud to work with them. We have Deloitte, and I think there actually is a Deloitte team. So if you're on the Deloitte team, I want you guys to make some noise. So I heard that they might have challenged FCC to put a corporate team in by Tara. I'm not sure if anybody's out there, but next year we would love to get some more corporates in here. It's such a great learning and development opportunity, so we want to see you out here. We also have Innovation Saskatchewan, Viterra as a show partner, our friends at Economic Development Regina, Protein Industries Canada, and then, of course, Connexus Credit Union. And it wouldn't be a competition without some money on the line, so Connexus Credit Union has supplied us with $7,000 cash that is going to be divided by the winning teams. So we have $4,000 for first place, $2,000 for second place, and a $1,000 People's Choice. And this is where you guys come in. Once you guys see all the pitches, we're going to have an opportunity for you to vote on who you think should take home the People's Choice. And these folks will actually be getting checks delivered with cash right to them. So it's a great opportunity. Maybe they might just put it into their Agtech startup. Who knows? So like I said, they have been absolutely grinding behind the scenes. They have been walking around Canada's Farm Show. They've been asking customers about their problem. They have been coding. They have been building their product. So tonight they're going to show you, they're going to show you their 3-minute pitch, as well as they're going to highlight their minimum viable product. So we are very excited. So earlier behind the scenes, we had 3 tech judges. Tech judging accounts for 25% of their overall score. So they were looking at just, can this actually be used in the real world, and what's the chances of this technology being picked up by end users, producers? So we had the amazing Taylor Fox. This is actually her 4th 24-hour startup that she has judged for us. So she is the CTO and co-founder of Memory Keeper. We have Ryan Marcotte, CTO of Brew Ninja, as well as Tony Arkles, who is the quality assurance lead with Precision AI, who actually are all 3 cultivator companies. So we're extremely excited to have them here. And then we have a star-studded group of judges here, some that you might recognize. So we have the judges here. They are the ones that are going to have the very difficult decision of making 1st and 2nd place. So we have first Kim McConnell, who I will call to the stage here. Kim is the former founder and CEO of Ad Farm, and he's also a member of our Agtech Accelerator. So let's give Kim a warm round of applause. Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Amazing. So what makes you most excited about the future of Agtech and entrepreneurship when you see this group?
Oh, wow. The opportunities are in innovation. The opportunities are in technology. The opportunities are in agriculture. How can you not be excited?
He said it first, you guys. Amazing. Thank you, Kim. And we'll get you to sit there on your comfy chair. Next, we have another Kim. You guys, this is easy. We're making it easy for you guys to remember the names. We have Kim Nicholson. She is the VP of Agtech and Innovation at the Mosaic Company. She's also a member of our Agtech Advisory, so she knows a little thing or two about Agtech and will be sure to give the founders some great questions. So, Kim Nicholson. Kim, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
Good. Do you have a piece of advice for these founders? They might be a little bit nervous sitting in the front row for just getting up here and then pitching something Agtech.
Yeah, I mean, you just really need to let your passions show through. Technology is, you know more about what you're building than anyone else here in this room, and just let that come through in your pitch and how you share it with the audience.
Amazing. Thank you, Kim. And we have another familiar face, Vikram V's, just got off the main stage, popped back to the green room, and now he's back to join us. So he is a chef and a celebrity entrepreneur. As well, you might recognize him. He actually is a real-life dragon from Dragon's Den. So this is not his first pitch, you guys. So welcome to Vikram. Now, Vikram came by yesterday. He kind of got to see the crew that was working. So what do you kind of hope that you're going to see from their change from yesterday to then how their product and their pitch has developed today?
I think yesterday was a starting point. They had just started to incubate. You know, it was like a cultivator thing that was happening. Today is to see where you guys are with the final product. So it's like, yes, we want to have kids. And now it's like, yes, we have kids.
Amazing. Thank you, Vikram. All right, and last, there we go. Let's do it. So last but not least, we have Natasha Vanderhoerk. She is the CEO of 3 Farmers, which is a healthy and plant-based snack based in Saskatoon, sells all across Canada. So let's welcome Natasha up.
Hi.
Hello, Natasha.
Hello.
So as an ag entrepreneur, especially local to Saskatchewan, are you excited about the future of entrepreneurship in this space?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there's so much room for advancement in agriculture, doing more with the products that we grow here, obviously, taking them to market, building jobs here at home. Yeah, the future's definitely bright.
Perfect. And I think you have your kids in the back, so you can give them a nice
do.
wave. Awesome. Thank you, Natasha.
Thanks.
All right, enough of me. We're going to get the stars of the show up here. So like I said, we have 6 companies that are pitching. Their ideas were merely just an idea yesterday at 4 p.m. Now they're going to be up here having a 3-minute pitch, showing you what their minimum viable product is, and then they're going to be answering one question each from our amazing judges. So, without further ado, I am very pleased to bring Hannah up to the stage, who is with Proteus. So, Hannah, come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Tate, and I am a co-founder of Produce. It is a local app that is meant to connect producers to consumers. It is revenue generating, but is going to fight food insecurity in our communities. So the goal is to launch young and experienced gardeners into growing their own gardens. We are also including a learn aspect where producers are able to learn how to increase their yield and increase the amount of food that they are producing. And finally, trade. We've created a marketplace where local backyard producers can connect with local consumers that are in need. During the pandemic, I started potato farming. It was a lot of fun. At the end of the season, I had so many potatoes, and I know that many other people were like me as well. Little did I know, James B., just down the street, was a young child, and he was unable to find healthy food to eat during the pandemic. He will also continue to experience food insecurity all the way into 2022. So I wasn't the only one with a surplus of produce, and he wasn't the only one in need. So the problem is that the current supply chains are unable to meet consumer needs in terms of price, product, and place. Supply chains are projected to become even less reliable, affordable, and less accessible. So our solution is creating an app to facilitate a network of urban producers and consumers to build sustainable local produce chains. We're going to help people launch their garden, we're going to help them learn to be more productive, and then we're going to help them trade. So our mobile app is a really exciting piece of technology that has been built by an amazing team of designers. Our premium subscription, as well as our free features, are going to help our producers and consumers build habits into their day-to-day lives that will contribute to this local supply chain. So we can change the way people are behaving and get them to be more sustainable and productive. So our users will be found through word of mouth through our extensive local network, where we have over 20,000 direct email addresses, as well as access to 10,000 Facebook and social media users. Our users are both producers and buyers, and so we're going to help the producers produce more, and we're going to help our buyers buy more. And our revenue comes from a premium subscription estimated to bring in over $300,000 in the first year, our basic starter kits, as well as ad revenue. We were able to validate our customers extensively, and we see that people want to produce more and people need to eat produce more. And so we were so excited to validate these results. And finally, our team. Our team has been built from a diverse group of people from multiple countries, multiple backgrounds, and with many years' experience in software development, leadership, and community-based initiatives. And we are also so excited to have already developed meaningful connections to local businesses and community projects. And just to highlight, and thank you very much for your time today, I'd like to open the floor to any questions.
I think he's going to start. We're going to go in order.
Wonderful presentation, great idea. I'm going to put $100,000 into this. What are you going to do with it?
What would be really important is solidifying our app and getting that base technology in, because we are looking to scale, so we're going to be lowering our costs, increasing automation, and as well as outsourcing some of the labor to our community-based organization partners. So what we would really need the money for is that core technology.
Thank you, Hannah. Great presentation and big problem that you're trying to solve. So when you were thinking about your value proposition, how did you land on your pricing and what's the value you're delivering to your core customers?
So the value that we're delivering to our customers is, it relates back to the price, place, and promotion, kind of those basic 4 Ps of marketing. So right now, the price is out of reach for many people. And the place is sometimes physically inaccessible. So what we're proposing is when someone is in need of produce and is going to go shopping, instead of trekking all the way down to the grocery store and all of that, they can simply walk to their neighbor's house. And so they can have access directly, and we also believe that this is going to create an opportunity for people to buy less produce at a time, which would reduce food waste. So they can make multiple trips to their neighbor's house instead of buying $200 worth of produce at Walmart and it going bad.
So Hannah, how does produce get its seed money from first? And what makes you think that another company that sees what you're doing, somebody who has experience in coming up with apps like this, would jump into your space and quickly wipe you out from that space of app creation?
Okay, so the first part of that question is where we're going to get our seed money to start this up. So our co-founders are ready to invest, and we have a wide variety of backgrounds. And myself, I'm a recent graduate, and so I'm really excited to get out and build something in the future. Additionally, we see a lot of, say, government grants and stuff like that that are working towards fighting food insecurity. And especially when we consider who faces the highest rates of food insecurity, it's women, it's people of color, and it's our Indigenous communities. So I do believe that the government has multiple grant opportunities available. And the one last part of the seed money is I really believe, and we have validated this with local nonprofit organizations, they are interested in being involved. And so that might not be that thousands of dollars because they're nonprofits, but I think that we have that buy-in and support to make this into something amazing. And there's a second part of your question. How are we going to make sure no one can steal our idea? So getting that authentic connection to our customers is going to be really important. And so myself and my co-founders have established a lot of these connections in our local community. And when we're talking about nonprofits or vulnerable communities, it's important that we establish trust. And that's something that I believe with my whole heart. And I do have a genuine passion for making lives better for everyone, and I know my co-founders do as well. So that's something you can't replicate, is genuine compassion.
But you can sell it.
Excellent, great presentation. I'm just so happy to not be on that side of the microphone for once. Very good. So I guess my question would have to be around just the business plan, and have you thought about some of the challenges you might come up against around, even just convenience of availability from, one day it's available, the next it's not, so that convenience aspect for the consumer. But then the other side of things would be the cyclical nature of the business. Obviously, in a climate like Saskatchewan, we're not growing produce in our backyard year-round, so how would you tackle some of those challenges with the revenue stream and the cyclical nature of it?
Of course. And so in terms of availability of produce, we want people to be on our platform all year long. So what's going to be important is getting consumer feedback about what they're interested in eating. We can get our consumers to directly tell our producers what they're interested in eating. And so that's a really exciting opportunity, and that's going to engage people through the winter months. And additionally, we have been so fortunate to meet today with Harvest Wall, a booth just over there. Give us a wave, I see her. I'm interrupting her sales pitch. But Harvest Wall has agreed to open discussions and to talk about distributor rates. And so Harvest Wall will allow people to grow inside in all seasons. And another aspect is food, preserving food, say in the late fall months. So we do have a goal to engage people on the app. And it's really important to understand how technology has grown and improved, and that's what's going to enable producers that are at home, maybe a little bit less experienced than a professional. Technology is going to make the difference with excellent products like Harvest Wall.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but that felt a little bit like Dragon's Den. Kim, I think you might have said you're putting $100,000 in? All right. Perfect. Well, we have our next company up. So we have Blake, who is representing I Spy. So we will call him up to the stage to get going with pitch number 2. Green means go. Go.
So it's been said that despite all of our accomplishments as a society, we owe our existence to a 6-inch layer of topsoil and the fact that it rains. My name is Blake, and I'll be introducing to you the product I Spy, which is a soil productivity index. We know intuitively that land has value, but how do we value it? Current methods for land valuation are subjective and nebulous, and really what we're seeing when we look at particular market classes of those that are interested when coming up with an objective value for their land based on productivity, there's 2 classes. Third-party customers that would make maybe a product to differentiate themselves in the marketplace, maybe insurance companies looking for a metric for parametric insurance products, or direct customers involved in land transactions. So buyers may be prospecting on land values, or sellers might be looking for data to justify what is the true value of their land. So what we are proposing is a soil productivity index, which is a data-driven standard that optimizes land valuation. This is a transparent system that makes land transactions fair, and ultimately sustainable management practices are rewarded. There are many different variables that feed into the I Spy algorithm. You can see them on the screen there, but ultimately what we're doing is drawing in these data layers, other data layers, and coming up with a single variable that is a gold standard reference number that can be compared to any land in the world. Just walking you through the customer journey. So a customer would enter in their land location. This would be fed into our algorithm that determines a pending soil score. And it's pending because that initial assessment may trigger red flags that would require further investigation, ground truthing, boots on the ground action. If so, we would work with partners to facilitate that data collection, feed it back into the algorithm to give you your final score. This is just a screenshot of the Spy interactive product that we made. You can see the satellite image on the screen. A customer would input their latitude and longitude into that, and then it would spit out the Spy score. In terms of our revenue structure, a base package, so this is a first customer doing 1 quarter section, $250 to get them set up for their pending score, $50 for each additional quarter that they're assessing. And then for large users, the ability to have a $10,000 per year annual subscription for unlimited queries of the system. During our market validation process, we heard from all sorts of customers, be it land sellers, realtors, or buyers, that what we're trying to do is really hitting the mark in terms of what we need to have a better system for objectively determining land value. So we're confident in that. This is a mock-up of the website we put together, so I've really just introduced at a high level what we're doing, but we're bringing in different data layers, predictive modeling, ultimately to come up with this data-driven soil valuation. Thankful for the work of many team members who are great capabilities. And finally, at I Spy, our vision is land transactions makes equitable for everybody, everywhere. Thank you.
Blake, wonderful, very interesting concept. So tell me about, if you're trying to reach your top ideal customer, how do you get in the door of that customer? How are you attracting that first big sale?
Great question. I think it's really about our business model where we're going to be working very strongly with partners that are going to facilitate us. So as an example, maybe it is a realtor that has a number of clients already that may be interested in this product, or agronomic service provider doing soil testing, that sort of thing. So leveraging those partnerships that we'll be working with in delivering the product.
So this app is basically only for people who live in rural areas that have the land. This is not applicable to somebody who lives in an apartment building in Regina.
So the initial iteration of the product would be for broad scale crop production. That said, the principles could be applied to small scale vertical farming, container farming, even, I suppose, balcony farming.
No, but it's not available for anybody who lives in an apartment. So you're not giving them the land value, you're giving them what the value of the soil is.
Basically, we're giving a proxy for how productive is that soil, so you can compare field A to field B.
So how scalable do you think that is?
So I would say many of the principles that go behind coming up with this score are global in nature, right? Things like soil salinity, things like soil organic matter content, soil structure. Of course, we would focus on validating it within the Saskatchewan context, which we're most familiar with, but in theory could be scaled globally.
So it makes sense. So, I mean, the land should be valued on what you believe it can produce, right? Land that can produce more should be valued higher. So how does the app or the model or the algorithm accommodate for just plain old supply and demand, right? When there's scarcity, obviously the price goes up. When there's no buyers, the price goes down. So how does it accommodate for that and balance out?
So that's a great question, and we do recognize that there are a number of factors that go into decisions to transact on land beyond just the physical, technical components, emotional aspects, right?
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. So what our goal is not to tell you what the price of this land should be. It's more so to give you that gold standard reference number that you can use as an objective basis to feed into negotiations. So maybe you could bring it and say, this is sort of the fair price, but because my grandfather or grandmother homesteaded there, I want to buy it anyways.
Okay, yeah.
I love your name, I Spy. I love the fact that you're working on soil health, because if there's ever an issue right now, this is of real interest to a lot of people. So I love where you're going in that. How do you recognize, however, the management expertise that the farmer in the past has done to enhance the land? How are you going to give extra value to that?
Great question. So as a part of our focus on bringing in multiple data layers, a valid data layer could be data provided from a farmer. As an example, what is their crop rotation history? How have they used fertilizer over the past? What is their tillage history? Those sorts of things could be brought into the platform through various APIs with the providers that are tracking that data and that sort of thing. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Let's hear it for Blake and the team at iSpy. So what's hard to believe, this is actually our first in-person 24-hour startup in probably since 2019, and what a stage for it to be on. So let's give a big round of applause for Canada's Farm Show for this amazing stage. All right, and so next up we have Nathan, and he is going to be representing Soil and Crop Services, so we will bring him up here.
Hello, everyone. I am representing Soil Crop Services. I just want to take a moment to thank Mother Nature for giving us this $1 million rain that we just had today. Yes. So as Soil Crop Services, the inputs into soil crops are very complex, and there's many variabilities that go into it. Mother Nature controls most of them. We can't control Mother Nature, so we're focusing on the variables that we can control, which are our soil and a fertilizer application that goes with that. So our solution is we take in any agronomy data that the farmer has, create a soil health plan, and give you fertilizer prescriptions. How this works is whether you're a small farmer that just has notebooks and keeps your data log that way, or you're a full precision planting adopter where you have in-field soil sensors, satellite data, anything like that. We take all these data sources, put them through our unique algorithm, and then we create a fertilizer application. And then we take that fertilizer application and we go to the farmer to make sure that the data we present them makes sense and that they can control the variables. Because fertilizer price is expensive, there's trade-offs with everything. So we're trying to bring the farmer in to the decision and tie everything to the farmer's profitability. So you're saying there's people that do agronomy data out there already. Yeah, there's Farmer's Edge, FieldView, your local fertilizer specialists. What we do is we specialize with the farmer first, so we use local data models to your specific farm, unlike the big ones that have generic models, or the local fertilizer specialist that's just trying to sell you more fertilizer. The market opportunity is huge. There's 1 billion acres in North America, 160 million in Canada, 43 million acres in Saskatchewan. We're targeting the farmers first, but with all this agronomic data, there is a plethora of extra revenue streams through selling, marketing, profit sharing, and the carbon tax. That's the one I'm looking for. So our revenue model is profit sharing. So we take a baseline of your past 5 to 10 years, and you don't pay anything. So until, and then we split the profits from the baseline to your profitability. So we have skin in the game, and the more you grow, the more we grow. Customer feedback is they love that we're willing to share in the risks, and they like that they put the farmer first. Oh, sorry. I'd like to take a minute and thank our team for all the hard work they've put in the last 24 hours. And if you want to scan the QR code, you can see a live demo of our app. And I want to open it up to any questions from the judges.
You get to go first, Vikram.
Yeah. So what I don't understand is how do you know that the soil is of a certain quality? Like, who provides you that data?
The farmer provides it. We can advise them on certain data inputs that they have. Typically, we have a soil scientist on our team, so soil samples is the main one. There's data imagery, there's in-field sensors with moisture. So all of these things can be put in, and the farmer can choose which ones he wants and how detailed he wants to get. So each farm's unique, and we want to work on a one-on-one basis to give them a customized solution.
Okay.
So I think, so does this, my question has to do with the competition and the competitive landscape. So I think some type of this methodology already exists, or this technology already exists. You know, who are your competitors and what makes you different and better than what's already offered out there?
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, there's Farmer's Edge and FieldView, Climate Corp out there. There's your local fertilizer dealer. They all do similar stuff, and they have the big guys have generic models, which may not apply to your specific solution. And like I said, with the fertilizer companies, they're trying to sell you more fertilizer. And each farm's unique, and their farming practices are too. So you might not have the budget for more fertilizer, or you might know that your soil can only produce so much. So we're trying to get the fertilizer application that can optimize the snapshot of your soil during seeding, and then have the yield potential. If there's more rain that comes, or if there's changing variable conditions, we can top dress, or we can add extra fertilizer to get the top yield. We want to minimize inputs, but not leave anything on the table. We want to increase, because we have skin in the game, so our profit is tied to your profit.
Okay. And so does the program or the app actually capture the cost savings as well for being more precise with the application and what's being purchased for the inputs?
There is algorithms to have that. In 24 hours, it does not right now.
Fair enough.
But yes, that would be what we sit down with the farmer, go and say, here's the options, here's the potential yield of where you're at now. We can put this much fertilizer down. If there's more, we kind of give a yield potential of the soil, and then based off your moisture is kind of the other factor. Like I said, we can't control Mother Nature, so we don't know whether it's going to be more wet, less wet. So we're really working one-on-one with the farmer to see what their strategy is, how they've tilled the land, and what kind of works and doesn't work for them. So we're trying to bring the agronomic data with the farmer-centric knowledge to create the most profitable farm.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you, Nathan. You've indicated, as Natasha asked, that there's a fair bit of competition in this area. What's your marketing plan to be able to capture this, and particularly your emphasis on your distribution plan?
Absolutely. Small team right now. We're growing. So the big hook to get in there is zero upfront cost. So there's a lot of farmers that are doing precision. There's still a lot of still a lot of people that aren't adopting, and even late adopters. So we're really giving the incentive with a zero upfront cost and zero risk to go out and try this. And we're completely incentivized to make sure that you make more money, so we make more money. And then when you make more money and all the farmers around the coffee table saying, oh, I got an extra 20 bucks an acre this year with this company, you guys should try them out, there's zero risk. The peer-to-peer network is very strong in the farming community.
So thanks, Nathan. Always a huge fan of helping farmers use fertilizer more responsibly. But you're focused on a couple of key parameters, soil health and the fertilizer inputs. So how do you overcome the objection of the farmer that says, well, my profit is also based on my management practices, my seed selection, other things like that? How do you handle that objection?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't quite.
Sure. So you're focused on the soil health plan and fertilizer inputs. But as a farmer, I make a lot of other decisions, my seed selection, my management practices, a lot of other things that I'm doing that tie to my profit. So how do you overcome the objection that you should get a part of my profit from my other decisions?
Absolutely. There's a plethora of decisions that go into it. We're focusing on the fertilizer application. We have the soil science background and the algorithms to go for that. There's a bunch of chemicals and diseases. We'd love to expand into those models so that we can have a more full-featured offering to you, so that together we can take the top plant science, herbicide science, all these factors that are in the academic realm, bring them, condense them, and give them to the farmers in a digestible way, and then talk with them and work with their management plan so that, like I said, everyone has their different strategies. Some put on a lot of fertilizer because it's going to be there the next year and they don't care how much they spend. And then some years fertilizer prices are really high, and all the economic factors play into all of these things. So that's why we're working with them and trying to bring the best data modeling that we can to the solution. Thank you.
So let's hear for the first three pitches that we've had. It's kind of actually amazing that these have just been 24 hours in the making. We also need to remember that they've been building this tech to create a minimum viable product. So for most part, this is actually working tech that they've created in the back end. So let's hear it for team number 3. All right, and next we do have Sask Air Farming, and it's Rahid that is representing his team. So Rahid, take it away.
Hello, everyone. All right, Saskatchewan, are you ready to change from ground farming to air farming? Yes, you are, and it is time to change. So my project I am working on detecting early symptoms of disease in cattle by using drone technology. So the problem is the farmers today are facing is bovine respiratory disease, pink eye, foot rot, and white muscle diseases. And my amazing drone technology is going to help me in like physical challenge, saving time and future tech advancement and consistent food protection. Service model, what I'm going to add value for my customer. You don't have to know technology. We're going to offer subscription, and you don't have to worry about cost of maintenance and mechanical breakdown, you cover it. Early detection of diseases, we're going to use drone technology and 4 sensors: thermal imagery, infrared sensors, anemometer, and humidity sensor. These sensors are going to determine the temperature, high temperature in the beef cattle, and we can separate these animals from the herd, and we can treat them. Our revenue business model, we're going to decrease in mortality rate from 8% to 2%. In Israel, in the United States, and on Alberta, they have reached these numbers. Let's say average farm size, $200 cattle, and you're going to save 12 cattle, and you're going to save 2,400. And the labor cost, you're going to save 7,200. And annual subscription, this total annual subscription fee, it is $12,000. The customer acquisition, in Saskatchewan, there are 13,000 beef cattle farms and 72 in Canada. We're targeting our first year to get 50 customers. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go to knock the doors door by door. We're gonna offer our amazing product and we'll convince them to buy that. So I have my great team. So I have an agronomist, microbiologist, I have a software developer, and I have the farmer in the 20 years sales and experience, and I am pretty positive I'm going to achieve the best goals in my team. I am open to questions, please, if you have one.
Okay. It's hard going first. You don't have as much time to think. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have the value proposition right. So you're saving lives through early detection, or you're saving time for the farmer, or it's all of the above?
Exactly. I'm going to save the farmer's time. Let's say in the drone technology, it's going to take 2 hours for drone technology to measure temperature of 200 cattle or 300 cattle.
Right.
But the one person, if you do it manually, it's going to take 8 hours, maybe 2 days, if you're young and if you work faster. This is time-wise, but mortality rate. If you find the diseases in the early, you can prevent spreading the disease, and you can bring the mortality down considerably.
Mm-hmm. So you save time on the front end, but then they're still going to battle with the fact that they need to go out, separate, and treat the cattle, right? So there's still time spent on the back end, correct?
So our job is to determine the disease and the diseased animal, and our step is we don't do any veterinary stuff. Our job is just, find this cattle in this location with like a tag number. It has a temperature. We're gonna use the infrared, and yeah.
Okay. So because it's probably a high upfront cost, it's a drone, they would have to purchase the technology. What do you think is going to be the biggest barrier to entry for customers?
Yeah, right now I am in a agriculture digital program. It's supported by Pallet Skills, University of Saskatchewan, and Proteins in Canada. I think they all non-profit organization. I can ask them, and if I first start, I need $100,000 to buy 10 drones and to start to look for my customer. Actually, I got one customer, potential customer. He has a farm. He's in my group. He's really interested in my He's my indigenous friend, Kelvin. Yeah, he has a big farm.
So my old partner used to say, it's good-looking dog food, but the dogs don't eat it. So he would say, is there really a market for this? What have you done to validate, to show that the cow-calf producer or the feedlot producer really wants this?
So, first of all, it is already proved in Alberta, and government of Alberta pay almost 50% for these technologies if you want to buy. And it's already proved in Israel, and I have read a lot of studies, and I did some research in academic research. It's proven, and you can detect early. These drones you can use herding animals, farm security. You can know where your animal is. It's kind of flying cowboy. That's what Kelvin said for the technology, flying cowboy. It's just flying cowboy.
Very good.
So let me make sure that I understand your business model. So is this drones as a service? I'm subscribing and your company is coming to do this monitoring for me, or are you training me as the producer to do my own monitoring?
That's a good question. Today in Canada, the average age of farmers is 55, and I don't think people are going to use this technology. That's why we show full service. We're going to use these drones. We're going to take the pictures, and we're going to send them directly to the library, and maybe it's going to take half an hour. If we have connectivity, we're going to give them results. If you don't have a connectivity, it might take 2 or 3 hours when we have a connectivity.
Okay.
So what I gather is that this is more of a detection model, not to recommend any doctors or any medicine for the cattle to be taken care of. Would it not be more profitable to have some vets on the platform as well who can actually advise the farmer what to do? Because this is purely detection. And then again, time is of essence. If it takes 2 days for the farmer to remove the cattle out, then he has lost that cattle and the cash flow from what he was supposed to produce. So is this really a viable model?
So I didn't mention, I think, 2 days. I told like 2 hours if we have a connectivity issue. And if we don't have a connectivity issue, it's going to take 2 hours. But to get cattle out of the farm, that's a really good point. We have some discussion about that. And for that, the farmers, they will have responsibility. We're going to give the tag number. We're going to give them location. Let's see, the cattle beef is here, and you need to go and got that. And you can isolate, to prevent the diseases too, because farmers today, who doesn't want like a healthy steak on their table, or healthy burger? You Canadians love it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my team. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, Cultivator, and everyone. Connexus, right? Yeah, Connexus. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we are underway. That was our 4th pitch. We have 2 more on deck before the judges have a very hard decision. I'm already sensing it. Next up, we have our side, which is a team that Deloitte put together. They did some hard bargaining. They added on, I know they stole a marketing person, so hopefully it all paid off in the end. But let's hear it for our side and the Deloitte and other team.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan, and our company is Our Side, and we're here today to solve a really big problem. This huge problem is being experienced not by people only here today, but by people across Canada, especially farmers. And that is the carbon tax credit market. The lack of advocacy on behalf of farmers and the lack of transparency within it. This market and this problem is such a huge problem. It's $36.5 billion a year problem. Now, to me, that's a really big problem. Our side is here to solve that problem by creating a marketplace that connects buyers and sellers of carbon tax credits. It provides education to individuals, farmers, partners, investors, as well as advocating on behalf of farmers so that they feel like there's someone else on their side. How we're doing that is creating a platform. It's a trade for fee service that'll be charged to both the buyer and the seller. And what they'll do is they'll come to this website, they'll enter in how many credits they want to purchase or sell, we'll charge our fee, and determine how much will be exchanged for that credit. How this will work is the fee per party will be $7.95 per transaction. We're expecting by year 5, 193,500 trades per year across Canada, with a trading revenue of $3.1 million. Now, we're expecting to have roughly 70% profit margins by year 5, which equates to roughly $2 million in net income. Our competitive advantage is our team and the first mover positioning of this. Our team really believes that we're on the side of farmers. We're out there advocating for these farmers, showing that we're there. We understand that these individuals are getting not only the expenses from other partners, such as the transportation companies, fertilizer companies, as well as railway companies, but then they have to produce a profit. And by doing this, still be able to put food on our table. These are the projections that we're having. So you can see in year 1, we're looking at roughly $278,000 per year, working all the way up to year 5 throughout Canada with $2.3 million in profit. So profitable right out of the gate in year 1 all the way to year 5. At that, I will open up the floor for questions.
Great presentation, Ryan.
Thank you.
Carbon's a hot topic these days, so you're right in on the whole area.
Absolutely.
Lots of competition that are coming into this area. What do you? How are you determining your metrics, your protocols, and who's going to accredit to make sure that you got a product that is consistent across the whole area and go from there?
I think that's a fair question, especially with the government's changing the protocols behind it right now, even with Saskatchewan moving from federal oversight to Saskatchewan oversight with that. Now, with competition, from what we could gather, talking to experts throughout the last 24 hours, is it doesn't seem like there's a lot of homegrown companies that are doing this, more so Europe, who's been doing this for 20 years. Now, in regards to our parameters and getting the credibility, we will be following the government's criteria on what a carbon output includes, as well as what the carbon credit will look like. There are carbon tax calculators out there. As of right now, based off of conversations with farmers, they don't like the intrusivity of this. There's a lot of intrusive questions being asked, and with skepticism around this area, farmers are very hesitant to provide that data, not knowing the full story. With that being said, we want to provide transparency. So one of the next stages would be to bring in a tax calculator to allow farmers to understand where their carbon output is being calculated, to have some more transparency around that number. And then as well as creating more education around it. It's a very gray area, especially in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Not a lot of farmers know about this opportunity to create a second stream of revenue.
Thank you, Ryan. As Kim said, a very hot topic around carbon. But if I'm a buyer on the system, how are you validating that the carbon credit that I'm buying? What's your validation system, and where's your transparency to show me that this is a real credit that I'm insured of?
Absolutely. So in regards to the transparency of it, we will be escrow model. So the credits will come to us, the money will come to us, and then we'll do the exchange. Now, to provide credibility, as of right now, from our understandings, the carbon tax credits are determined at the government level. So we will be, we would imagine that there would be documentation that would be provided to the farmers that are developing is the less carbon output that would increase their carbon tax credits that they could then sell to buyers such as the transportation industry, railway industry, or fertilizer industries that for the most part they do have zero emission targets but may need some extra time to get there and thus need the tax credits to help them along that way.
So Ryan, it looks to me like this is a brokerage deal.
Fair, yeah.
It is a brokerage deal,
Absolutely.
right? Somebody wants to sell.
Yeah.
So today is carbon. What happens tomorrow, there's another tax credit or a tax that comes along. I mean, do you give up the platform of this and then you go on to another tax that the government has implemented, whether it could be anything, could be environmental tax or whatever it is?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a brokerage deal, but where is the interest of the farmer here?
The interest in the farmer, so it is a brokerage business model, taking that stock trading platform model and then applying it here, except there's only one commodity, which is the carbon tax credit. Now, with that being said, if tomorrow the tax carbon credit doesn't exist, we can then pivot to help farmers in other areas, because there is the three prongs. Education, it would be the second one after the trading per fee, as well as advocating on behalf of farmers. Now, with that being said, how we're acting in the best interests of the farmers is showing that we're on the side of the farmers. Right now, based on conversations that we're having, farmers don't believe that there's someone out there talking on their behalf. I think a lot of people out there would be shocked to believe that a lot of farmers are carbon zero as of right now, or close to it, or meeting the targets as of right now. So being advocates for farmers, but then also educating buyers such as partners that potentially want to work for farmers, partners and government institutions, municipalities, as well as investors right now. There's another market for that as investors are starting to take a closer look at the potential of the carbon tax credit.
So is it farmers trading with farmers? Is that the...
How we, after 24 hours, how we're looking at it is we actually believe farmers will be sellers of the carbon tax credits.
Correct.
On the other side, the buyers will be partners that work with farmers or even investors. So the partners, the transportation industry, fertilizer companies, and railway companies that have a significant output of carbon that need help in getting their carbon below that level that is acceptable by the government without getting taxed $50 per ton as of 2022. So.
And what's the percentage of farmers that are actually already tracking this? Like, what's the uptake to date of farmers actually tracking their carbon credits?
Tracking the carbon credits is one thing. Percentages are still in a gray area. That's one of the problems, is there is limited information out there. To find how much a carbon tax credit is very difficult within Canada. You have to rely on one of the leading indicators, which is California, who Quebec has just partnered with. And as of right now, yesterday, that carbon output, the carbon credit was around $39 Canadian. But we had to rely on that information. So to be able to give you an answer on how many farmers are involved in this, trading-wise, zero, as there is no platform doing it right now in Canada. Transaction-wise is another question.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to understand, like what challenges are going to arise. Like you've mentioned, education is a challenge. sharing of information, the farmer sharing information is a challenge. They're really probing questions. But another challenge might just be the vast amount of paperwork required to actually track all this, which, I mean, I can tell you from our business experience, that's a whole new department just to manage all of the tax and the grants and the, right? So there's a whole
Absolutely. One of the
personnel-
conversations we had was that farmers don't want another thing on their to-do list.
Exactly, yeah.
And liquidity was another problem that would have had to have been dealt with our platform compared to other ones.
Right.
Thank you for your time. Thanks,
Right.
everyone.
Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, does Orion not look like he was on a TED Talk up there? That's the only thing I could think of. But we are rounding out our 6th and final pitch, you guys. So I need you to start thinking in your head who you are going to vote for People's Choice. If you were in the judges spot, who would be first, who would be second. So very tough decisions here, but we are going to be moving to Agshare, and we have Armin coming up. So folks, get ready for our last pitch of the afternoon.
Hello everyone, we are Agtech and my name is Armin. Today I just want to directly go to the numbers because I believe numbers are so important. We have more than 34,000 farmers in Saskatchewan. So these farmers can use some high-tech technologies, let's say carbon, robotic laser reading, which can just cut the weeds in 4 times faster and in a more effective way. So why not everyone using these type of high-tech equipments? Definitely the reason would be the cost. Each individual would not be able to buy. Maybe some of the farmers are already facing some debt, and just buying all these equipments is not somehow possible for them. So what would be the solution for this problem? The solution would be the Agtech application, which we have created, and it's already ready to be used, as you can see. And what we do is that we created to share the information of the farmers so they can easily just create their profile, put their equipments there, and they can just rent it to others if they want to. And also they would have the opportunity to just buy things together and somehow participate with each other and then just share it together. So it would just make it feasible for them to do so. We had the opportunity to talk to different farmers today. So as you can see, most of the farmers were eager to use this application and use this idea. And let's get to the business model. So there would be 4 different types that you can somehow, our business models work. One would be the annual fee that they can pay to just use the application. The other would be the commission fee, then the advertisement, and definitely data. We all know that matters and is so important. So as you can see, in a 3-year period, using only 10% of the having only 10% of the farmers in Saskatchewan, we can make over $1 million, which is 44% benefit. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions.
So very interesting concept, but you're very specific on ag robots, which is pretty low adoption at this stage. Why would you not take the same concept for other equipment on the farm that may not be used year-round?
Yeah, honestly, the idea is not just for this type of, so that you can just share anything that you want. Any equipment can be shared. What we're just trying to do more is that, so by focusing on somehow these high-tech equipment, it would be much more better because it's a lot faster and a lot more effective, let's say. But everyone can share whatever they want, whatever equipment that they want, and it's just like a social network for farmers that can just do things together.
So who carries the insurance and the service of those machines? So let's say I borrow a machine from her, something happens to the machine, and I give it back to her. Who's carrying the insurance on that aspect of it? Plus, I mean, I appreciate the upfront cost of buying these products, but a lot of people get it financed. And in the financing agreement with the bank, it'll tell you that you're not allowed to give this equipment to a third party or to anybody. It's like leasing a car. Unless you put the name of the person on the lease, you're not allowed to just give that equipment to anybody else unless you've bought it outright.
Regarding the first, I just forget what was the question. The first part?
The first question?
The first part, yeah.
The part was insurance. Who carries
Okay.
the insurance on the equipment?
Okay. Honestly, I believe that part is where makes the farmers somehow and makes them interested to use our application. Because otherwise you can just say they can get connected to each other without using the application and can just share the equipments together and they do not need the application at all. But when we have this central application that we are just somehow getting a commission fee on each transaction and each trade, part of that would be for the insurance and it's our own side to somehow, if something's happened, then we would pay for the insurance and we would take care of that. So that's the reason that they will not just go and share it together and will be encouraged to use our platform somehow.
Vikram stole my question, but I'll ask a different question. So one of the things about farming is obviously time is of the essence. Seasons changing, crops ripening, all that jazz. So if you can't bank on the piece of equipment you need being available in your region at that given time, you're kind of shit out of luck, I guess. So how do you manage that challenge for the consumer that would be trying to rent a piece of equipment in a very timely way for what needs to be done tomorrow?
Yeah. The point is that we focused on the high-tech equipment. That was one of the reasons. Because right now we have the equipment that can do things 4 to 5 times faster than the way that it was before, and it's much more effective. And the main important thing about it is that you can just use it through the night, in a rainy weather, in a windy weather, in any different condition. So by having that, then you can just share it for farmers together, that their farms are just near each other, and just buy that, purchase that, and they can just use it together. It's much more faster, so you will just get the same result, even faster, with a less amount of money. And also it's important to mention that somehow the farmers that have equipment can also earn some extra money by using the application, by just renting their stuff. So I believe it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Thank you.
So am I correct in, do you own the equipment? Or does the farmer own the equipment and then you're just in the sharing business?
We are just in the sharing business.
Okay. So if the equipment breaks, it's the owner's fault. It has to come up and pay for it.
That was the point is that we somehow take care of the insurance with that commission that we get. So if they just trade directly with each other and something like this happens, then it would be a problem. But that's the reason they're gonna use our application and use our platform. Then if something's happened, then part of that money would be taken for the insurance.
So what have you done to validate the business model, the viability of the business model?
So we checked just for the commission fee and for the annual fee. Only if 10% of the farmers in Saskatchewan use the application. I can just show it here as well. Oh, we cannot see it anymore. So if only 10% of the farmers use it, so in a 3-year period, we can make up to $1 million, and it would be 44% benefit. And we also just check the salaries that we need to pay for people and everything. So as you can see, everything together is here. And also advertisement and data is important that we can collect and sell to the manufacturing companies. That's another way. I mean, like any other social network that can just outperform other centralized applications, I guess this idea can do so.
Thank you.
All right, okay, a little bit of a heat check. How do we feel about those pitches? So we have to whisk the judges away because they have to deliberate. So like we said, 25% of their score comes from the technical judging. 75% will come from these fine four individuals based on their pitch, business model, marketing, everything like that. So it's time for you guys to then take the vote for people's choice. So I want you guys to take out your phone to www.menti.com, enter this code. Oh, there's no code on here. All right. So this is the code you're going to enter. So it's 3860-5517, and that's menti.com. You're going to see each of the names and logos of the 6 pitches that you saw. And then we're going to give you 5 minutes to cast your vote. So just as a reminder, there is $1,000 on the line for people's choice, and you guys have 5 minutes starting now. And while this happens, I'm going to call my friend Amy Carragata up to the stage for a little thank you for a special friend of ours.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bree. Before we get going on that, we have to whisk the judges away to a top secret location so that they're able to deliberate and select the winners today. I do not envy the position they're in because those are some pretty awesome pitches. So as Bree mentioned, I am up here today to thank somebody that has been pretty influential in this event, and we're really happy to have her in this opportunity. So flashback to, I believe, 2019, somebody took a chance on a wild and crazy idea, otherwise known as 24-hour startup Agtech. Before Agtech was sexy, now we've decided that it is sexy, so we're pretty excited about that. But yeah, it's because of her vision and her drive and her commitment to this organization that we're all here in this room today. So I'd like to give a special shout out to Miss Shirley Jackowitz as she kind of bids adieu into her retirement. So huge round of applause for Miss Shirley, and we'd like to call her up to the stage to present her with some flowers, if she is here. I could talk about Shirley for hours, so if she's on her way, I could just keep going. Shirley! Perfect. Shirley is an avid camper. She has a little dog that she spends lots of time with. And yeah, she's definitely an influential lady, and there's some big shoes to fill here at Canada's Farm Show and a pretty amazing legacy. So give it up for Shirley one more time. Woo! Alrighty, folks. So as I said, those judges are behind the scenes deliberating away. And so we have a little bit more entertainment for you. We have Mr. Sean O'Connor. He is the managing director of Connexus Venture Capital and Emertech. Emertech is the largest Agtech venture capital fund within the nation. And he is going to do an address of the current state of Agtech. And we're pretty excited to hear from him. So give it up for Sean O'Connor.
Awesome. Let's hear for all these participants. Holy smokes, that was amazing. Not only were the presentations fantastic, but the answers to the judges' questions, you guys did a really good job of. I get questions from our investors in our VC funds, and we've been doing this now for about 3.5 years, and I still stumble with a lot of questions that get asked. I love the idea of an idea being 24 hours old, and you're being grilled up here, and the quality of the answers was exceptional. So well done. That was really fantastic. So my job here is to make sure you don't leave while the judges deliberate. And I was actually supposed to be doing this with Jordan McFarlane here, and he left me high and dry because he lost his voice last night. So I'm going to try and give you kind of a quick update on what we're seeing right now in the ag tech space across Canada. And why we think Canada is poised to break out as a leader in ag tech. It's really the core principle behind Connexus Venture Capital launching Emertech, which we'll get into as well. Before, I'm going to give you a really quick background on myself. It'll help give you some context for why is a fintech nerd from Vancouver talking about ag tech up here. It's a bit of a journey that we've been on at Connexus over the last few years. But this first picture is me in 2014. It's me and Kevin Sandu as we were just starting and launching a company called Groupland, which became Grow. Ended up building and scaling and exiting at this fintech company based in Vancouver. And then in 2018, it's my wife and I and kids at the Athabasca Glaciers are moving from Vancouver out to Regina. I'll get into the principles behind Connexus Venture Capital, but we're not initially from Regina. I heard the idea and was talking with Neil Cooper and Eric Dillon about the vision they had behind Connexus Venture Capital and became enamored with it. I had a couple interesting conversations with my wife about why we should move from Vancouver out to Regina. We love it. Now it's home for us. Our kids love it here. We've been here almost 4 years. But to give you kind of context for some of the factors that went into the decision to move out here, it took us about 14 or 15 days to drive from Vancouver to Regina. I let my wife plan it all. I'm pretty sure she was convinced our kids were never going to see a mountain again. But ultimately, it was this idea that we could move out here to a great community and really be a part of something special that Connexus Credit Union is putting together in the venture capital space. And this last picture here is Connexus Venture Capital, our little team at Connexus Credit Union and what we've been building. And the whole principle behind the idea, I'd love to take credit for it, but it's really Connexus leadership and the board long before I came out here, was identifying a problem where Saskatchewan had created globally successful technology companies, yet less than 0.5% of all the venture capital in Canada ended up here. We had companies like Vendasta, Solido, Skip the Dishes, IQ Metrics, GasBuddy, a long list of companies that had outperformed. Yet in 2017, there was only $14 million of venture capital deployed in the province. And in 2017 or 2018, it didn't change at all. It was $16 million. So the view was, could we put together a fund that untied that arm behind all of our founders' backs, which is access to capital, and can we do it in a way that makes everyone a bunch of money, where we are putting money in at Connexus, but we also raised money from, it was about 25 regular folks who put money into the fund, regular, rich folks, but people who believed in the mission of what we were trying to do and wanted to support the ecosystem and make money doing it. Many of our credit union peers here in Saskatchewan joined us, along with Saskworks as well. And the view was, we got to make them money, and we need to catalyze the Saskatchewan tech ecosystem. And I'll get into our Agtech fund shortly here, but I think this journey into venture capital will help give you a bit of context. And so far, it's working. Our fund is performing well. We've got a 55% IRR for our investors, which is good. And every dollar that we've asked for since we started the fund is now worth $2 today. We'll get into what's going on with the tech ecosystem in a second. If I come back and I'm talking next year and I look disheveled and smell of cheap bourbon, then you'll know the tech market has had its reckoning. But as we stand today, we're pretty excited about the overall outlook for our fund, and we're in the top 1% of venture capital funds in North America that launched in 2019. More importantly, and what we're really proud of here at Connexus, is we are a very, very small factor behind this, but one that we are proud of anyways, is the ecosystem has been catalyzed, where last year there was $210 million of venture capital deployed. Now, 99% of that goes towards how great our founders are, but if you look at the impact that Cultivators had, that our fund has had, the ecosystem's really come a long way. And keep in mind, the year before we launched this fund, it was only $16 million. So we're excited about the growth that we've had here in Saskatchewan when it comes to the tech ecosystem. But ultimately, as we were looking around, we had a whole bunch of people reach out and say, are you guys going to invest in Agtech? And our view at the time was, it's a different asset class than your general tech space, and it doesn't really belong in a generalist tech venture capital fund, which I'll get into in a second. But we became obsessed with this at Connexus. Why isn't Agtech thriving in Canada generally? And what are the things that we need to do to bolster us forward? We are a leader in agriculture. We're a leader in technology. We punch above our weight when it comes to building tech companies. That was true 20 years ago with the emergence of BlackBerry and Research in Motion. It's true today with the emergence of Shopify, despite some of the recent market headwinds. Agriculture is centered around our entire economy here in Canada. We're the 5th largest global exporter in the agriculture space, yet we are falling behind when it comes to funding innovative companies, particularly in the ag tech space. So to give you kind of lazy math on how we look at this is, in the US last year, there was $4.9 billion of venture capital deployed to Agtech companies in the US. We're about a tenth of the size of the US, so we should be at $490 million US of funding here in Canada, if you want to do the simple math. Honestly, I'd argue that we should punch above that. Like, we are a fifth of the farmland, so you could say 20% of the US seems reasonable, and then we're at about $1 billion. But either way, way down here in the corner, it's only $182 million of venture capital deployed into Agtech here in Canada. We believe that is the delta and the opportunity for us to really thrive. And we continuously fall behind when you think about other countries that, I would say we should be able to compete with the likes of Finland and France and Singapore and really be able to punch above our weight. And so we see this as a huge opportunity and one that needs to be solved. We've got tremendous opportunities in the world of labor shortages. We saw one great presentation here from the company that was looking to create a marketplace for robotics on the farm. All these robotics companies that are building up to focus on the farm is just to solve what are we going to do about labor shortages? How do we find a way to get the same productivity or more productivity out of a farm as it becomes harder and harder to find people? It's a bit of a tangent here, but it becomes a fascinating solution where we've got a company from the UK here called Small Robot. Locally here in town, we have Precision AI. We have Dot and Raven, all these different companies that are solving, if we're going to take the person out of the machine, how do we rethink how we deploy equipment in the farming setting? We spent about 100 years trying to make the machine bigger and trying to make the person in the machine more productive. When we take them away, we want to optimize for reducing soil compaction and, more importantly, reducing the downside or negative impact of when a machine's not optimized or working. So you don't want just one massive combine or a few huge combines out in the fields. You want a bunch of smaller robots along the way that can help there. I think we can all agree that long term we will see an autonomous farm in the future. Like, we can disagree whether that's 5, 10, 30, 50, 100 years. But that is a huge part, is how do we solve the labor shortages here in Canada? And really, how do we make sure that we continuously improve our ownership abilities when it comes to food security? There's really kind of 4 key areas we see Canada needs to continuously improve on. We're one very small part of that left-hand side here, which is the investment into innovation. I do think some of the other fascinating problems that I'd love to get everyone's perspective of at a different time is how do we increase connectivity of the farm? Super cool for creating a whole bunch of tech and tech solutions for farmers, but if we don't have proper access to internet connectivity on the farm, that becomes a bigger challenge that we need to face here. So we put together this fund trying to solve a handful of these different problems, but the general principle was that we believe we can, much like our first fund, we can make our investors money and we can help catalyze an ecosystem. The 3 kind of key pillars behind how we built this fund is we are built by the industry. So our fund is made up of wonderful experts in agriculture. We have got great farmers and innovative farmers who invest in the fund. We've got Mosaic, and I get to constantly learn from Kim Nicholson on a weekly basis. I'm asking her for advice. We have insurance companies like Saskatchewan Municipal Hail Insurance and the cooperators, credit unions that have anchored our ecosystem. The government of Saskatchewan is our largest investor through Innovation Sask, which is really a great way of showing that we believe this is an interesting moment when it comes to what we can do here in Saskatchewan, and really for all of the smaller ecosystems across Canada, is that we've seen lots of waves of innovation in Canada happen with the likes of mobile and software and hardware, AI, fintech. That was my world. I remember in 2014 when we launched Groupland, it was awesome. There's a ton of companies in Vancouver building fintechs. There's awesome ones in Calgary, Montreal. They're sprinkled across Canada. And then right around 2016, kind of Bay Street planted their flag, and it became very clear that Agtech was going to be built from Toronto outwards, and that we would all kind of fight over the crumbs as we looked at different opportunities. That's totally different here. We've got an opportunity for all of us smaller ecosystems that are anchored in agriculture as our, one of our key economic drivers. We don't need to fight over the crumbs. The loaves of bread should be divvied up to Saskatoon, to Regina, to Winnipeg, to Calgary, to southwestern Ontario. We see great opportunities for companies across Canada and many of the smaller ecosystems. We have Mike Boudreau here from Salmon Arm, BC, who's one of our investees in the portfolio, demonstrating that you can build a globally successful robotics company in a small town like Salmon Arm. That's what we think Agtech provides as an opportunity across Canada, and one that Saskatchewan will get a disproportionate size of. The last kind of two pieces that we think differentiate us and that we think could hopefully have a meaningful impact in terms of how we're catalyzing or supporting the ecosystem. One is we want to be active across Canada. We are greedy over deal flow. If you have any companies you think we should be looking at, we'd be thrilled to talk with them. If any of these companies actually turn into something, let us know. I've attended every 24-hour startup, and we've invested over $1 million into founders that my first interaction was with them by watching them pitch at a 24-hour startup into 2 different companies. So we truly believe in this method that Cultivators created. We're excited over it. I hope that Deloitte refuses to sponsor us next year because they lose half a dozen employees to being founders after this, because I think there's some really cool ideas that you guys have all built together. So we always want to hear great ideas, great founders. The core principle behind our team, and there's 7 of us, is to make ourselves available to founders as much as we can, because access to deal flow is the most important part of our fund being successful. And then the very last piece, and I said this a bit at the start, is why our first fund doesn't invest in Agtech and why we think Agtech has really struggled in Canada is what we've seen a lot in the past is the general Canadian venture capital playbook applied to Agtech. And that's where we think a lot of the missteps have happened here, and a lot of the reasons companies have struggled is because of how they have received funding from the venture capital community. I'll give you kind of a short story about a company that's thrived using the Canadian venture capital playbook, which we use in our first fund. And we use it in a company called Salon Scale based in Saskatoon. Amazing founder, Alicia Soulier, who we met. She was building a really cool company. She's doing like $1,000 in revenue a month. It was very little. Her product barely worked. Most of the time it didn't. But we saw an exceptional founder who was growing her company, building out a vision, and we knew this was going to be successful. So we put a small amount of money in and started working with Alicia, and she kept releasing the product, and it would break, and the users would give feedback, and you'd iterate on the fly. This whole manifestation of taking the MVP and scaling it, which you're able to do when we gave her $400,000 was our first investment. We've done subsequent follow-on investments as well. Fast forward today, and she's doing about $120,000 a month in revenue. The company is exceptional and is really poised to do some exciting things. You can't do that with Agtech. Like you can't say we're going to give you $400,000 and let's release this broken product to a farmer in the middle of harvest season. Like it's just not. You need to build products that are commercially ready, that deliver an ROI from day one to the farmer. There's a reason if you drive around here in harvest season, everything's red, yellow, or green, because they need to know that products are going to work, that they're reliable, and that they deliver an ROI. We have some of the most innovative farmers in the world. This idea that they are laggards is not true. It's that they need products that they know they can depend on and know that they can rely on. And it's the one takeaway here for any of the founders in the room, particularly those that we haven't invested in who are just here to support me more than anything else. Build something that is reliable. Build something that farmers can count on. They have a significant portion of their net worth sunk in the fields every year, and they've got 30 to 40 at-bats in their career at growing a crop. These are people that love great products. Just ask farmers who are in areas that get supported by Starlink what they think about that. They love reliable products. They love products that bring value to them, but they need to know that it's going to deliver an ROI. I assume at some point I'm just going to get cowbelled off here, so I'll keep going for now. But we launched our fund towards the end of last year. We're the largest Agtech venture capital fund in Canada, so we're super proud of that here at Connexus and all of the partners who've supported us. I think that's also a bit of a state of the Agtech space, that a $60 million fund probably shouldn't be the largest of its kind in a country, that we need to see more money flood into this space, and that we hope that we have more partners here. But really, our fund, we're proud of what we've accomplished at Connexus, but this is a handful of other groups who invested in our fund, believe in our fund, and more than that, they're actively taking a role in supporting us. What we're leaving out here is a whole bunch of high net worth individuals, strategic partners, and then lots of great farmers who've really been advocates. They sit on our investment advisory committee, and they help Kyle and I and the team really execute decisions. I'm going to go into a few different areas until I get cowbelled out of here on why we are particularly excited about now. You know, we went into some of the challenges that we're seeing in Canadian Agtech space. We don't think our fund, as big of an ego as I have, I don't think it's going to make that big of a dent. What we're seeing is way bigger opportunities across Canada for supporting Agtech companies. We've seen huge support from many of these companies listed here in Innovation Saskatchewan, Protein Industries Canada. Kane has helped a handful of our companies. Protein Industries Canada, for example, based here in Regina, has contributed now over $200 million of secured follow-on investments from their projects that they put together. Sustainable Development Technologies Canada has been actively looking for as many opportunities at the intersection of ag tech and clean tech. And these are, I think, just in the last 12 months, companies that have received non-dilutive, non-repayable capital to continue building their ag tech companies because they see the advantage they have in supporting the environment. And this is something that we care about deeply as well at Emertech, where Kyle and I, so Kyle runs the funds with me, we wrote an article in the Globe and Mail a little while back about this exact opportunity that we have, which is the intersection of ag tech and clean tech. And the great part about this, there's been lots of exciting contributions in the clean tech space here in Canada, where we've typically seen big impact in terms of environmental change, but perhaps not the company success we were hoping for, is in the clean energy space, where we see great technology being built, making a significant positive impact on the environment, but perhaps doesn't have the same ability to be exported because the end customer often needs to be subsidized in that equation. Where AgTech's really cool is you're solving a problem of just trying to save the farmer money or increase their profitability. And a lot of the ways you can do that is by reducing the need for fuel or fertilizer or pesticides or herbicides, or retain the same amount and increase your yields. All of those are clean tech. So anyone who's looking at building an ag tech company, I guarantee you have a clean tech angle. Even the drone company that was going to fly around and look at making sure that their cattle are healthy, that's a clean tech company. You're reducing the amount of fuel that cars need to drive out to check on the cattle. You're reducing the inputs that go into a cattle that ultimately isn't ending up being used. Like every single opportunity in ag tech, as far as I'm concerned, has a wonderful overlap with clean tech, and we think that's a pretty exciting opportunity. Lastly, again, what we're doing is a very small part of why we're optimistic about the future when it comes to Canadian ag tech. There's a bunch of really smart groups out there, both companies that are raising tremendous amounts of money and funds that have been able to get off the ground as well. We do think that there's going to be some challenges over the next year or so. The state of the tech market here in Canada is, or in North America, is being challenged, where we've got the NASDAQ's down almost 30% so far this year. Our view is that the technology space will struggle for a period of time. And to give you a really kind of lazy explanation for what's happening is interest rates are rising. Everything about the technology industry is based off of what your revenue will be 3, 4, 5 years from now and the growth that you have. As interest rates rise, a dollar is worth less in the future. So essentially becomes a manner of we need to reevaluate how companies are being valued today, because our whole premise of what was there going to be their revenue in 2030 has changed from a relative basis. That's the lazy way of saying what's going on. Really, I would say that it's a lot of customer sentiment and panic. What I will leave as a takeaway is we think ag tech is uniquely positioned to survive and actually thrive through this. We can't make more farmland. There will be more people. Agriculture needs to continue growing, and ag tech will be a huge solution behind that. So we are optimistic about the world of ag tech, particularly here in Canada, as we keep clean tech top of mind, food security top of mind, and really an ability to become a leader in this space. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate those who stayed around. Again, the whole goal here is to keep you here so we can see these kick-ass founders or future founders get their final awards.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean, so much. I'm not going to answer any questions for him, so I'm just going to keep moving. You don't want me to, but the judges were back there. You guys, they had such a hard time deciding who was going to get first, second, people's choice, so they really needed the extra time. So Thank you to Sean from Emmertech and Connexus Venture Capital for filling that time and then us learning a little bit more about Agtech investing. But we are excited. We're going to welcome the judges back onto the stage, and then we're going to get to the most exciting part, which is the prizes. So come on up, judges. You can stand. That's perfect. We'll just get you in a semicircle over here. And I also need to do a shout out. If you guys have not entered to win the tailgate Traeger and the jerky in a box, all that good stuff, Laura's back there, so make sure you put a ballot into there and have your chance to win. But this was very, very exciting. So I'm going to pass it over to my friend Kim McConnell. He's going to provide some comments on what they saw, a little bit of the back behind what was happening in the judges' deliberations. So Kim, take it away.
Well, thank you very much. First off, congratulations and thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope you had as much fun and learned as much as we did as judges. This was wonderful. To start with, we had, 47 projects that came forward. You zeroed in on 6 teams. You came together, you developed it. You worked your butts off. 24 hours, you came up with something that was elaborate, that made sense. We as judges were impressed, and we congratulate you. We know that you are tired. We know that you should all run away as winners because you did that. You've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot. We had a difficult decision. What we had to do is that we looked at the technical ratings. We looked at how you presented. We looked at your business model. We debated. There was certainly no unanimous consent on the whole things, but we had the difficult challenge of coming up with the top 2 and then to the people's choice. So congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be the judges. It was fantastic. Now, you don't want to hear me anymore. You want to know who the hell won. Natasha.
All right, so I get the privilege of announcing the People's Choice. And so the winner of the People's Choice today is our side.
All right, our side, get your whole team up here and come get your big life-size check. Can we play some fun music? There we go. Any words?
Thank you.
That is a good-looking crowd. Team. We'll get all the judges in there. Hop in for the photo. Amazing. Let's hear it for our side. All right, now I'm going to call up Kim Nicholson to let us know who is taking home second place.
Yeah, I get the pleasure of announcing our second place winner, which is the I Spy team. So welcome to the stage.
Come on up, I Spy. Let's hear it for I Spy. Amazing job, you guys. All right, Vikram, are you ready to tell us who has won first place for 24-hour startup Agtech.
You know, it's not about winning, it's about hard work and tenacity that goes into create something like this. We all put our passions of the countries where we come from. We all put our passions, what we have learned over the years. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how much love and passion went into those apps, dishes, food, farming, and everything else. So I think number one is produce this year. The model is sustainable. The model focuses on community giving and sharing of produce, of food, of that typical farmers market model, but just done better. So congratulations.
Let's make some noise, everybody, for our first place winners. Amazing. And now let's put our hands together, you guys, for every single participant for the last 24 hours. Thank you guys so much. I have a few closing comments, and then we'll let the teams all get up here and get some photos as well. So first off, we need to thank the judges. It's not every day you have people who live, breathe, and sleep Agtech to judge something like a 24-hour startup. It's not every day you have a Dragon's Den guest and judge here. So we are so happy to have them all here. So one more round of applause for our judges. So we have Kim, Vikram, and Natasha. All right. So that brings everything to a close with our 24-hour startup. We wouldn't be able to be here without our event team. So this is the Cultivator crew who has made this possible. And we have some Emertech people in here, the Connexus marketing team. So this is really a accumulation of all of our work and effort together. So thank you. We also have an amazing group of mentors. So they took time off from their day. They came here. They shared their knowledge. They shared their passion. Same with our mavens. These are actual tech startup employees that live and breathe this every day as well. So we are very happy to have them. I also want to see if there's any of our Agtech Accelerator cohort members here. Make some noise. So they came and they pitch scrubbed. And what's actually really fun about this is that they are going to be on this exact main stage tomorrow, 2:45 p.m. for their demo day. So these founders have been working for the last 3 months in our accelerator, but much longer on their Agtech ventures and startups. So make sure to take that all in here on the Launchpad stage. Thank you again to our event partners and all the partners that made this possible. And then, like I said, we are going to be back. You will see some investors at 2 p.m. on the Launchpad stage, and then we will also have the demo day at 2:45 p.m. So with that, we will close it out. We will see you all next year and also 2024 for 24-hour startup Agtech. And with that, we will close it off, and thank you guys so much.